310864. Station's your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
We need to get community. We need this thing to be bigger than just our little circle of players and coaches.
Are you kidding me? Touchdown, Oregon.
With 2 seconds on the clock.
He hits it!
That's the bigger picture in this thing, allowing the community to celebrate the hard work, blue-collar mentality this group brings to the table.
And the Ducks have won it! The Ducks have won!
We get to struggle together, and we get to have joy together.
The Ducks are Pac-12 champions!
I am so proud right now to be the head coach at Oregon.
Catch me! Touchdown, Oregon!
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
Happy to report that the Duck is still doing push-ups, at least the Duck that is on Alex Stimpson's desk. We've got a ton of interviews coming your way today. The entire Quack video team getting them up on the Go Ducks YouTube. We heard from Coach Lanning after practice just a little while ago, some of his thoughts heading into week 2 against Texas Tech. It's a 4 o'clock kickoff. We'll have a 2 o'clock pregame show across the Oregon Sports Network. Also, zeroing in on the running backs, Bucky Irving, Jordan James. Heard a bit from them in the Quack Minute yesterday. We've got their full interviews for you on the show today if you haven't heard them yet. Nico Reed talking a little bit about the defensive backs, Dante Manning as well. That's on today's show, in addition to our friend Rob Moseley, the editor-in-chief of GoDucks.com. Tonight as well, the Oregon Football Coaches Show is back. Scheduled to talk with Dan Lanning, of course. Head coach will join Jerry and Jorgie, and then I've got Jeffrey Bassa this week. Went with a couple leaders to kick things off, right? Last week we heard from Bo Nix. This week, Jeffrey Bassa, and it's kind of fun, actually, with Jeffrey Bassa. Jeff has been in the studio now a couple times here, but he's actually never been interviewed by me. He's been interviewed by some of his teammates. So tonight, Jeffrey Bassa gets the full Coaches Show treatment. I'm looking forward to it. Should be fun. Across the Oregon Sports Network tonight at 7 o'clock on the GoDucks YouTube and the Oregon Football social media channels as well. Your comments and questions today, if you have any, what are your thoughts heading into week 2? 2 second-year head coaches battling it out in Lubbock in that 4 o'clock kickoff. Let's hear from Dan Lanning, the Duck head coach, after practice, right off the practice field today.
All right, 2 really good prep days for our guys so far. Excited about their temperament and their mood. I know they're pumped and excited for this game. Really clean. You know, we're about to go play a team that's going to be in a hostile environment, which we're excited about. So we'll open it up.
What do you feel about the coverage by the linebackers and pass coverage this past week and this week in practice?
I don't think we really got tested this past week. I mean, they didn't throw the ball very much, but we've done well. At times there was a couple plays that we wish we had back.
You mentioned on Monday wanting to kind of work on jump balls and for the defensive backs in terms of defending that. Have you seen progress there and kind of that matchup, I guess, further?
Yeah, we've worked a lot of contested balls. You know, I think it's going to come down to a lot of contested catches in this game. We got to do a good job when it comes to that.
It's like Jorion's been kind of playing that Bradley role for the scout team. How's he doing there?
Yeah, he's done a good job. He's done a good job. He's doing he's double training. He's working his position for us, and he's working that position for them as well.
You guys find anybody to give you a look for Tharp, their 6'9" tight end?
Yeah, I haven't found a 6'9" guy yet, but you know, again, we'll prepare with the guys we got. We got plenty of good players that can help us get ready.
You mentioned the environment, the conditions, weather-wise. Is this the kind of game where grit is really fat? Who is gritty and who has to take a look in the mirror?
Well, this is the kind of game where you can't just show up one game, right? This has to be who you are all year, right? So we want to be the same team that we've been all year, and when we focus on what we're going to be moving forward, right? You are who you put on film. Right, so no matter if it's this game, the next game, or the game after that, like who you are has to show up every game. Your DNA traits have to show up every game.
Part of that environment, how do you feel about tortillas?
I'm a tortilla fan, more of a flour guy than corn.
What's your guys' schedule like over the next couple of days? How are you going to kind of deal with the heat once you get down there as far as water?
Same prep as every week. We're focusing on hydrating for our guys. Not a lot of changes there.
Big believer in elevation factors into conditioning or anything like that?
I think the biggest place it shows up is in the kicking game, you know, so there'll be some of that. You know, as far as their conditioning, I think our guys are well conditioned. We'll see that when we get there. to the game. But more than anything, it's going to show up for distances in the kicking game.
Did you coach in that 2013 Holiday Bowl with ASU? Were you still around there?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah. What do you remember from that particular? I realize nobody's there, but like, what do you remember from that game, that matchup with them?
Yeah, they went fast. We didn't win the game. That's the thing I remember about that game. We didn't win it. We got hit on a corner cat where a guy hit us on a double move, on the X. That was tough. You want to win every game you line up for, but I certainly remember that one.
Okay, that was the ultimate coach moment at the end of that conversation with Coach Lanning today. He gets asked about a game. Hey, were you there in 2013 still coaching? And he remembers exactly what happened where his team lost. Like, that is the ultimate coach moment where you remember the losses sometimes more than you remember the wins, and it still irks them to this day. That was Coach Lanning after practice today, brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with exceptional cancer care close to home. Dan Lanning will be in the Country Financial Studio tonight for the Oregon Football Coaches Show. He'll join Jerry Jorge and myself here this evening. Now talking running backs, Bucky Irving. This was fun, talking with a guy who, hey, if the Ducks had played him every snap, his individual numbers might have been totally off the charts on Saturday. Instead, the entire running back group really showed how deep the group is. How about Bucky Irving? Some of his thoughts here in week 2.
How do you feel about, your performance in the first game? How did it feel to actually get out there and out some of the crowd again?
I mean, it felt good just to get back going with the guys in a real-life game, seeing how we can execute the plays that we've been working on for a long time in fall camp, and just going out there and executing them.
Bucky, take us through those 2 big runs you had.
Just stand on track, trusting my track, and just hitting it full speed.
We talked a lot preseason about the depth of the running back room, to see the young guys get some run and have some success. How'd you guys feel like as a group about the performance as a whole?
I mean, in our room, we won. If one has success, we all have success. We got a lot of not selfish guys in our room. We all connected. We hang out outside of the field. I mean, we one group. We don't really look at individual stacks. If one getting off, we all happy for each other.
Did you watch those young guys in the second half?
Yeah, I'm just tuned in. Like I was in the game. I was happy for them. It's their first time in college, and they got a touchdown, so them guys should be excited about that.
Your thoughts on the offensive line, the new look offensive line, how they performed on Saturday?
I mean, I tell y'all every time, man, I got faith in these guys that I had last year just as much as I got these guys right now in front of me.
Where's that come from?
Just trusting them. Like, I let them do their job, and I'm going to do my job. You can't really. They here on scholarship just like I am, so I'm going to let them do what they got to do up front, and I'm going to take care of my business.
I feel like you guys are ready for your first road game of the year?
Oh, yeah, yes, sir.
What have you heard about playing down there?
I mean, it's a pretty tough environment going in there. A lot of guys that good on defense, played a lot of football, so we'll be up for the challenge. We just got to keep stacking days on days, and we're going to be ready to play.
What's the hottest game you've ever played in?
I don't really know. I don't really care about the weather. I'm going to just go out there and ball.
Do you have a weather preference?
Nah, it don't matter to me. Just ready to play football. Snowing, rain, cold, hot, it don't matter. Still going to have to play.
How much better do you guys feel like you are on special teams this year than you were
last year? I feel like special teams play a big part in football games, period. So I feel like now guys are willing to do it and stepping up for the challenge, knowing that special teams is an important part of this team.
What impressed you most with how Jordan handled a bigger workload on Saturday?
I mean, he's showing the world that he's more than just a short yardage goal line back, and that's a guy that's came a long way of trusting the process, going in with his number card, and he's always ready.
You a Raiders fan?
Nah, one of my guys that left here work down there now, so he be sending me a little stuff.
He was wearing a Raiders shirt. Makes sense, right? You would make that assumption. I would. Bucky Irving meeting with the media. Dan Lanning, Bucky Irving, heard from them so far. Brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with exceptional cancer care close to home. Going to hear from Jordan James, who has now stepped up to more than just that short yardage package guy. We'll hear from him coming up in just a little while. Also some other interviews talking with the DBs and some interviews from after practice today. That's on the horizon. But first, a timeout, and then Rob Moseley, the editor-in-chief of GoDucks.com, will be with us here in the Country Financial Studio. Rob and I talking all things Ducks. All the fall sports are underway now. A lot to discuss on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear roads, trails, and rivers. Ready for some SUV action? Drive family adventures with the Highlander. make a splash with the RAV4, or haul fun with a Sequoia. Check them at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear Sharp Turns, Toyota has more all-wheel drive sedans than any other brand. Get a grip in the stylish Camry, the elegant Crown, the striking new Prius, or the sharp Corolla. Get to Toyota.com already. Toyota, let's go places.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
My simple solution to the problem was remove people from the scene and help them feel safer.
In response to attacks against Asian Americans, Maddie Park raised over $250,000 to donate cab rides to the Asian community.
There is so much more work to be done. We really need to come together and tackle this issue as a community.
Support the Asian community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Alex Stimson with the whiteboard hand back with us.
That's Bo. Easy to spell. B-O.
Yeah. He's Rob Moseley, editor-in-chief, GoDogs.com. Welcome back. Duck Insider presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Rob cracked it open today. He was ready. Diet Mountain Dew. You're back, baby.
Who? Can I ask who was on set prior to me? Just prior to me.
Let's see. Yesterday, Matt Ulmer. Why is that? Uh-oh.
No, I have a bigger head than him, but I'm not sure that's true.
He has bigger hair.
Yes, and I would assume he protects it, so he probably
Yeah. No, you're
to,
okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying that it was a very large adjusted headset?
It was set very small.
Oh.
So I was thinking of somebody with a small head, but I don't think he.
Well, it's possible that when I reset it, I
closed it.
Yeah. So these headsets, for those of you that have no idea what we're talking about, these headsets are adjustable. So mine is almost completely as big as it gets.
You have a giant dome?
Oh, it's bad.
What's your hat size?
Depends on the hat, but generally speaking, 7 3/4.
Whew.
Yeah.
There's
big old 9.
Not many 8s out there. I know an 8.
No.
Joe Waltasti's an 8.
Yeah, I am not an 8. Joe always had the bigger hat.
Yeah.
But yeah, 7 3/4. Sometimes I'm a 7 7/8. Depends on the hat.
Sure.
And oddly, sometimes I'm a 7 5/8.
Oh.
Who knew? It's like when you get shoes. Sometimes you're an 11. Sometimes you're a 12.
Totally.
It's all over the place.
Yeah. I'm pretty consistently a 10.5.
That's good.
But sometimes 11.
Yeah. What do you want to talk about today? I'm going to let you drive the show.
Well, we went to hat sizes immediately. That was just dumb.
Yeah,
well, that's my fault.
How'd we get there?
I just rolled in and just threw a curveball. I apologize.
It's all right. You writing your practice report right now?
I'm not. I was just going through some photos.
Okay.
We got a birthday lunch we got to hit right after this.
Oh, good. Good.
So that'll all come after.
Yeah. Greg?
Good Mr. Greg.
Yeah. Twitterless Greg Walker.
No. He's on. Breaking news. Yeah. I think this summer maybe he changed. It's just his photos of his dog and stuff like that. But that's kind of
I mean, that's great.
Who he is. Yeah, he loves his dog.
Greg, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. Wow, this is a big day.
Yeah.
In Oregon Athletic Communications.
Yeah.
Big day.
It hasn't been the liveliest Twitter account on.
That's okay.
The app formerly known as Twitter.
Greg is though someone when he speaks you listen.
No doubt.
Yeah.
There's wisdom there.
There's a lot of wisdom there.
Because he's old.
Isn't he the same age as you?
No. Bro! Bro!
It's going to be a great day today.
I'm still on the right side of 50.
You're 29, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I believe he's on the wrong side of 50 by a couple years.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Week 1, what'd you take away?
Oh, man. Scored a lot of points.
81's a lot.
81 is a fair amount. It's not 114.
Yeah, but different game of football in that.
Totally.
Yeah. Did you have like fans asking you about that? Because we did. Like, hey, this is a record, but you keep saying modern era.
Right.
Like, why
Yeah.
are you
Yep.
I'm sure you got the same question.
Yep. Yeah, and then we got fact-checked, actually, because it was in the media guide as 115, but if you go back to all the records, it was 114.
114,
yeah. So thanks to people who pointed that out, too.
That's good.
I was not there to cover that game in person.
Neither was Greg.
Barely.
Jerry wasn't there either.
So you rely on some research, and sometimes just things happen. So, no, but it was fun to see a lot of different guys. I mean, I thought Bo Nix was just sublime. I mean, he was so in command and control. He was so good. I was talking to somebody today. I feel like almost like he had this reputation as sort of a swashbuckler, and he's being, which, much deserved based on kind of playing style, particularly earlier in his career.
Yeah.
And I think the work he did with Coach Dillingham last year to kind of rein in some of those instincts. You obviously want to still take advantage of his ability to make something out of nothing. He just has which he has a knack for doing, but without taking too many risks. Really, I thought helped him take a big step last year. But now it's like he's going against form, so I think people are almost taking for granted how good he was because he's not doing a bunch of that, kind of Sports Center top 10 type stuff, play in, play out. But he's just, he gets everything set. He gets the ball, where he wants it to go. I mean, there's probably 2 throws from that game he'd like to have back. I just thought he was really good. That O-line obviously is going to get tested, more further down the road. But I think they felt pretty good, for a bunch of new faces. They felt pretty good about how they came out of that. Defensively in particular, I think it's a lot of, we'll find out a lot more this week. But, if nothing else, you kind of, you play the cards you're dealt, and, they only allowed 1 score. The one score that was allowed, there were some serious breakdowns on that drive that didn't crop up again. So, all you can do when you have some breakdowns is try to fix them as quickly as possible, and that got done. Yeah. So that's encouraging, but, you really, I mean, I'm sure they'll take a lot more away from how things go this week on the road, playing a different level of opponent, all that.
Yeah, I felt like, the way the defense responded was my takeaway.
Totally.
An athletic quarterback. I don't know about you, but, I hope Portland State wins a bunch of games.
For sure.
After this.
For sure.
I'm all in.
Yeah, no doubt.
On Portland State. Saturday was fun to watch.
Yeah, they played hard. I mean, obviously tough circumstances, particularly the way the game developed. But, I thought they handled that situation with class, and kind of it was what it was. It honestly wasn't that long ago Oregon was in that situation of needing to go play some places where you got an uphill battle, but for a lot of reasons you got to go do that. And so certainly know that's a team like that, you just got to take from it what you can and then move on.
Yeah.
And I thought they handled themselves with a lot of class, a lot to be proud of.
We talked a lot in camp about, and Coach Lanning really brought this up a few different times about depth, and how we feel like maybe the roster's deeper this year. And I know when you win 81-7, you expect a lot of guys to play, but we did see the depth on display.
No, I think that's going to be one of the real fascinating parts, for nerds like us. That's going to be one of the really fascinating parts about this week.
Agreed.
Okay, kind of who are those guys that got on the field late last week because of the circumstances? But then who are the guys who were kind of always kind of in the cards? Particularly, when you play 25 true freshmen, you figure that's probably not going to be the case every week. But a good chunk of those guys are, I think, probably kind of in the regular rotation. And so kind of how does that all get sorted out? I think that's going to be one of the really interesting things to watch for sure.
Yeah, I feel like, you'd say like nerds like us, like participation charts, right? And, one of the things that I really lean on Jorgie for is he'll look much more at, the formations and where guys are in different packages because, I've talked about this before, like the play-by-play guy's job is to watch the ball and tell you what's happening, and so Jorgie and I talked about a lot of different things after the game that I think you probably noticed. Like you're like me, right, where you go back and watch on Sunday or Saturday night?
Yeah, I haven't watched that one. to say. It was,
well, yeah.
But
next week you'll do the same
absolutely.
thing. Yeah,
absolutely.
But yeah, like I don't know. Like,
I do have it on the DVR still.
It is fun though to think about the ways that different people can move around. So in any case, but this is going to be a different kind of test.
Totally. Yeah, like what I mean, they used a ton of inside linebackers like right off the bat. They were rotating those guys, constantly, and I kind of wonder how much that played into that early touchdown drive, and just you're trying to work with a lot of different guys, and so that does make it a little harder to get on the same page, kind of rep to rep. Not that that's any excuse. If you want to play a lot of guys, you need to expect that they can do that. But the reality is, if you're shuffling guys in and out, that you just raise the possibility of communication breakdown or something else. But so what does that look like? I mean, is there still 5 or 6 inside linebackers playing really regularly, or is it more like 2 or 3 or 4? What do the running back reps look like? Obviously, with Noah Whittington's situation last week, we don't really know what the plan was. Had he been fully available, so. That's going to be a kind of a tougher comparison to make. But, man, Jordan James sure took advantage of any extra reps he got and seeing those young running backs out there too. Certainly encouraging.
Yeah, the running back room was maybe case in point of like depth and rotation. Yeah. Like what will that look like here in week 2? Who knows? Maybe week 2 ends up with a lot of points on the board too, and you and I aren't even having this conversation until who knows when.
Right.
That's
in a perfect world, you keep beating people 81-7 all year.
Sure.
No doubt.
Yeah, I'll take that. I mean,
you can't prove it's not going to happen.
That's right. Who knows? Yeah. I mean, real groundbreaking stuff today. Yeah. I want to go back to something you started out with Bo Nix and just how efficient he is. So I asked Coach Lanning, like, I'm sure you do this too. Like, I kind of always kind of joke around with the coaches a little bit, like, hey, what should I ask, this guy in a conversation? And Coach Lanning actually said, hey, like, Bo had a lot of success last year. You should ask him, like, how does he not force it? Like, when him and Troy Franklin were so good, like, how do you not force it? I actually asked Bo that. And on the coaches show last week, you can imagine Bo's answer was just perfect, right? It was like, well, it's a lot of preparation because when this and this and this and this and this all happen, then you do this, 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 and that. I'm just so impressed with having another coach on the field. It's just a reminder to everybody, like, that veteran experience and the talent, when you couple those things together, it sure can be fun to watch.
Now, I remember at some point in, like, the second week of preseason camp in August, asking kind of one of the more veteran guys who's been around who I've gotten to know a little bit, and during practice, like, I was like, okay, kind of how well does everybody know everything at this point? I was kind of getting at, like, how much does the offense know what the defense is doing,
right? But
also, like, how much have you installed and how much is everybody processing that? Because it was kind of, again, this was the second week of camp, so you're getting into that position where, okay, most of the stuff's in, guys kind of should know what they're doing, but the other side of the ball is going to start knowing what you're doing. And immediately he was like, yeah, we're getting there. I mean, Bo knows everything.
Right.
But the rest of us, but it was like that was one of the first things that jumped to his mind is like just how head and shoulders Bo is in terms of just holistically knowing everything, already, before the second week of camp was over, he already just everything was nails with Bo. I mean, that's just where he's at.
And a new offense
as a player, yes, as a player, as a competitor, and his preparation, all that. I mean, like, just you talk about setting the tone in terms of, knowledge and preparation and work ethic and all that. We certainly saw Justin Herbert doing that, not too many years ago too. I mean, he was the guy everybody said was always around, always, in meeting rooms by himself watching film, and Bo's the next in line for sure.
Yeah, how about, by the way, the debut for Will Stein? I mean, you set a modern era record for points.
Yeah, you got to be careful. You don't want to set the bar too high.
Yeah, no pressure here. No pressure, Coach Stein. But in all seriousness.
It didn't feel like we really did that much either.
No, that's what I was
just kind of, you're just running your stuff. It was pretty straightforward.
Execution.
And, yeah, it was just – and, again, the opponent, was what it was. And, you'd hope that, you look better against a team from a lower level, right, with all due respect. But, it also was impressive at the same time.
Yeah, Coach Stein's actually going to be with us on our pregame show starting at 2 o'clock Pacific time on Saturday. And I'm going to kind of ask him that, like, hey, I mean –
right. Whoops.
No pressure here, But actually, one of the themes, I think, apart from depth in this camp was execution. I thought
just to put a bow on that, though, like, as someone who has spent my whole life setting the bar low so that people don't expect too much of me, it's really weird to see someone
do that.
Take the opposite tack. Like, good luck with that.
Yeah. Well, that's why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah,
we do what we do.
That's probably true. Yeah.
Rob Moseley, our guest, editor-in-chief, GoDucks.com. But I think, I don't know if you would agree, Rob, but if, like, you could overly generalize some of the themes of fall camp, I felt like depth of the roster was one, and then execution and consistency was maybe number 2, and we saw that from the offense.
Yeah, and I think one theme we talked about through camp 2 is the back and forth.
Yeah.
And so you wonder kind of what that means, because when you're going against yourself, you're not quite sure what to draw from that. Does it mean things are pretty evenly balanced? Does it mean kind of the iron is sharpening iron and both sides are executing at a really high level? And again, it's just 1 week and the opponent was what it was, but I think we do see that. The reason there was that tug of war is because, both sides of the ball do seem to have some talent, some depth, again, some, quality execution. And so, if you, hopefully that, continues to be the case. And if you do, particularly if you get your defense executing close to the level that this offense has been at in recent years and is poised to be at again this year, that's the formula for a pretty special year.
Week 2, Texas Tech, 4 o'clock. Have you ever been there before?
I never have.
Yeah, me neither.
I've never been to Lubbock.
I have never been to Lubbock. Baseball team was there, and I was still doing basketball. Didn't make the trip. So
is that when Jovan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was that.
Yeah.
Jovan pitched 1 inning that whole season, and it was opening night.
Yeah. Luckily, it's worked out for him.
It's worked out well.
Yeah. AAA now.
Yeah. Not bad, huh?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was Texas Tech.
Yep.
That was an interesting baseball series. They have a real short porch out there, and the wind tends to blow to left field. So, I remember that. I wasn't there, and I still remember that.
Yeah. I did. Yeah, I just totally associate that with Kenyon.
Yeah. Volleyball on the road.
Yeah.
Rob,
big weekend for them.
They lost a freaking set.
I know. Come on. Talk about setting the bar too high.
No kidding, right?
Yeah.
Undefeated Oregon.
You don't lose a set
team.
the first weekend, so it's like, well, don't lose a set. Then you lose a set. That's what it gets you.
Yep. 2 top 15 opponents this weekend.
Yeah. No, this is, and I asked Coach about this the other day. This is going to feel kind of like the second week of an NCAA tournament, kind of that Elite 8, Sweet 16 weekend, playing 2 really, really good teams back to back. And he said, yeah, that's what we're going for. You want to get as close as you can to that feeling before you get there, so you kind of know what to expect, know what it feels like. And man, those guys are good.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to finally getting them home and getting to watch them in person. But just watching the streams and stuff that's been available, they sure are impressive.
Yeah. Good to have Oregon soccer back at home too.
No
They
doubt.
had a couple long road trips tomorrow, 7 o'clock at Pape Field for Duck soccer.
Yeah, you hope some home cooking is exactly what's in store because they've been battling. One thing I've been impressed with. Still looking for their first win. But some of their best scoring chances, the last couple weeks have been like the last few minutes of games.
True.
Like they continue to press, and I mean that's nobody's idea of success. That's not what anybody's playing for. But at least you want to feel like, hey, they're continuing to push, they're continuing to compete, not getting too bogged down in results. You got to be thinking about process at this point, particularly when you're this young. And so to hear Coach say today, he thought their training session today was one of the best they've had. And that's a sign that kids are sticking with it, and the leaders are leading and keeping everybody together, and the young kids are staying resilient. And you just want to see that rewarded. I mean, it needs to be rewarded. Obviously, it's a bottom line business. You gotta, you gotta get on the right side of some of these results. But as he said after the opening game, you don't want to get punched in the face, but it's going to happen. And how do you respond? So. They're continuing to battle, and again, hopefully that's rewarded.
Full preview for Duck soccer at home tomorrow on tomorrow's show. What did we miss? Anything else fans should know, Rob?
Cross country had a couple of winners last week. Yeah,
every fall sport's in motion now.
Yeah, we got golf's playing. Men's golf's playing this week. Women's golf plays next week. Yeah, we're already talking about like tennis rankings and things like that. We're in it, dude. We're knee deep.
I just got a message from Coach Shelander. I haven't gotten a chance to read it yet because it was while you and I were talking, but. Yeah, tennis on the horizon,
bro,
too.
He's a higher priority than me. Drop whatever you're doing. And that came a little quick.
If you missed it, Scott just said, that's true. Oh, yeah, that's great. Hey, good stuff, man.
Yeah, I appreciate the pop. Maybe that's just what I needed.
Hey, we're here for you, buddy.
I can't believe I just said pop, too. The Californian in me is disgusted.
Yeah, I've never heard you say that before.
Same.
So where'd that come from?
I was thinking of it almost more like kind of metaphorically, like I needed a pop in the...
See, that's what that was.
Yeah, not a sody pop.
You're a wordsmith.
Yeah, I try to be, but
you are.
There trivia last night. There was like a word spelling category, and I was very excited, and I let everyone down.
Really?
Yeah, struggle bus. Yeah.
I feel like you're a good speller.
Ooh.
No.
Autocorrect. The vocabulary is decent. The spelling, I mean, it's better than some, maybe better than most, but still not. Yeah, what you might expect.
That is not. Yeah, I did not expect that. I would expect that spelling is one of your better characteristics.
Well, there aren't many, so it still could, even if it's not that good, it still could be one of my better characteristics.
And we're back to bar low.
There we go.
Yeah,
there
we've come full circle. He's Rob Moseley on Twitter at GoDucksMosley, at Duck Football. We'll see you on the tarmac. See you at practice tomorrow.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. When we come back, Jordan James, Nico Reed, Dante Manning, 7 3 ace.
Hey, same.
Hat size.
Same. We do have some common ground.
You're both Dodgers fans, for
Yeah.
crying out loud. This love-hate relationship between Stimson and Mosley is really just, it is all over the place. I've never understood it.
You know, some things
I
just
don't think
defy
they know it
expectation. Yeah. Just is what it is. Some people just rub you a certain way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Break time. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, son. How are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it. Navigating without a compass, eyes waiting, started to wonder. Metamorphosis, the loss of who you thought you was.
When your kid can't find the language, help them find the lyrics. Listen to the Sound It Out album and get tips and tools to start a conversation at sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. We're in the Country Financial Studio. My thanks to Rob Moseley for joining us. Talking to running backs again, Jordan James. Got to know him a little bit on our pregame show interview that you'll hear as part of our 2 o'clock pregame show on Saturday. He also talked with the media this week about a bigger role this season, in week 1 at least. Here's Jordan James meeting with the media.
Bucky said that you've really shown that you can be more than just a short yardage back. How do you feel like that process has gone for you over the last year?
I feel like it's gone well. I just had to, do things to improve my game, certain aspects of my game, and everywhere that I could.
What were those?
Just speed, agility, strength, just my vision, just understanding the game in general. Not all physical things, but.
I feel like you showcased that on Saturday?
Yeah, a little bit of it.
You've been talking about that since camp began, at least to us you've been talking about it. What did it feel like to finally get out there and get some chances on Saturday?
It felt great. It felt great to get out there and pretty much show what I could do besides the short yardage thing. So,
how did you feel about your game afterwards?
There's always room for improvement, but I feel like it was a pretty good game for the competition that we played.
Were you expecting to play so early in the game and get such a large role, or was that sort of regardless of Noah?
I was just ready for my number to be called.
You saw that the freshmen score some touchdowns. I mean, we talked all month in camp about the depth of your room. What was it like to watch those guys have success? To feel like kind of everybody was able to contribute.
Yeah, it was exciting that we all all got a touchdown. I know what it felt like for me to get my first touchdown as a freshman, so I was excited for those guys.
Is there any trash talk between you and other running backs that you got the most touchdowns on Saturday?
Nah, no trash talk. We're all one. So.
What are your thoughts on this week?
we're ready to go out and compete against some great competitors. They're a good team. They have good players. They can get the job done just like we can. So it's going to be a ball game.
Temperature seems like it's going to be in the hundreds. Just is that an adjustment for you guys? Or are you used to playing? You're from the South. You're used to heat.
Yeah, I'm from the South, so it's not necessarily the Texas South, as hot as that, but, I'm used to playing that. We just had to lock in this week and, mentally prepare for that, hydrate, and prepare our bodies for the temperature.
What did you take away from how your offensive line performed and maybe how they'll be challenged this week by Tech?
Last week they performed excellent. I think they're going to keep it up.
Jordan James, Duck running back, meeting with the media. Getting to know him a little bit more in depth on our pregame show again coming up at 2 o'clock this weekend. I'll tell you what, I feel like the defensive backfield for the Ducks still has so many different guys that can play so many different positions. The defensive back might be the most versatile position group in sports now, particularly in football, and I think the Ducks have a lot of guys that fit that mold. Going to hear from them when we come back. Nico Reed, Dante Manning, maybe even a converted defensive back. Jeffrey Bassa, Jamal Hill, both gone through that. We'll get a timeout, come back, zero in on the DBs next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear roads, trails, and rivers. Ready for some SUV action? Drive family adventures with the Highlander. Make a splash with the RAV4. Or haul fun with the Sequoia. Check them at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear Sharp Turns, Toyota has more all-wheel drive sedans than any other brand. Get a grip in the stylish Camry, the elegant Crown, the striking new Prius, or the sharp Corolla. Get to Toyota.com already. Toyota, let's go places.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. He sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself.
For many military veteran caregivers, their caregiving journey starts earlier in life and lasts longer. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack with you in the Country Financial Studio. Said we were going to zero in on the defensive backs, one of the new additions to the roster. Talked to the media a little bit this week, hearing a little bit from Nico Reed.
You talked about how back in camp, you like these smaller speed guys in the slot to face off against. You're going to get one of them this week with Price, number one. Just what do you see from him? What'll kind of be a challenge for him?
Speedy guy, yards after catch, a lot of yards after catch. So going to have to trust my feet, trust my technique against him. He's a fast guy. And when he gets the ball, make sure we wrap him up and tackle him wherever he catches it.
Reach out to Gonzo at all? That's his guy. He played with him in high school. He could give you some inside information.
No, I ain't reached out yet. Just been watching film.
Talk about also they've got a 6'9" tight end. Really hard to simulate that. But how do you go about preparing for that kind of a challenge? A guy who's just that tall, that big.
Just being physical at practice against the tight ends that we have, being physical in general. So like everybody we face, we're gonna be physical with them. So it doesn't matter like what height or weight. So just be physical. Try to be as physical as we can to win.
What were your impressions of playing a game in Autzen and just kind of how you played?
I played in Autzen my freshman year. It was loud. it was live, and just to get back in there, it was the same environment, same atmosphere.
I thought that was cool to hear. Like, it feels the same when you're on the road and when you experience it as a Duck. It's a little different for Nico Reed, isn't it? Now, Dante Manning, a guy who I think one of many defensive backs looking to step up into a bigger role this year. We talked with him earlier this week.
Dante, what challenges does this tech wide receiver room bring to you?
You said, does this wide receiver room bring to me?
Yeah, the tech receiver room.
Just the, it's a narrative out here that, our secondary is, losing a lot or lost a lot that, we haven't really made an impact yet. It's nothing but another challenge for us. They got some explosive receivers, some good tall receivers that can, get in front of the ball and, find the ball. But it's just another task, another week. So, just dialing back on our technique.
Is there any similarities between preparing for them and preparing for Washington State? Both teams that run air raid, versions of the air raid?
To be honest, we don't look past, what game we got this week. So what Washington State got going on, we'll get there that week. You feel me?
It was about Bradley, number 9 in particular. To talk about a tall guy, vertical threat, just what makes him effective at what he does.
Just being able to use, what God, like natural given abilities, like your length, your size, just to get in front of the ball, boxed out, kind of basketball player type. So just being able to utilize what God's given you.
How has Jurion performed? At least, I don't know, you're only 1 practice in, 2 practices in, but in that scout team role, how has he performed as Bradley?
Oh, I say he does a pretty great job because he's a physical receiver himself. So just adding that to it and him knowing, how Bradley runs his routes and stuff like that, he's given the best look possible.
What are the keys of facing a player with that size and sort of athleticism?
Just dialing back on your technique, not letting a name spook you or get you nervous off your game. It's more of a technique thing. So it's when you dialed in, feet, hips, hands, it's always just technique.
You're one of the guys who's still here from playing for DeRuyter a couple of years ago, and Yates and those guys. You've been able to help the offense out a little bit in terms of some inside information of what they're looking to throw at them defensively?
Not really. I was here with DeRuyter and Coach Yates, both some of my guys. But as far as like what they run, it's real complex. Everybody switches it up every now and again. So I'm just looking forward to it.
You're here with Tyler too.
Oh yeah.
What do you remember of him? Your albeit brief time here. That was a screwy season in 2020.
Just knowing where he likes to escape, how he likes to hold the ball in his hand, being able to stare down routes and things like that, just getting a beep on it.
What was the significance of Saturday for you getting a start and being one of the first 11 out there?
It was pretty big to me, just trying to pick off where I left off during the bowl game and just not having any type of drop off. Just every week I'm elevating my game. So it was pretty special to me, my first start for real, like at Austin. So it was a pretty big, special moment for me.
You feel like you lived up to, you said you want to elevate yourself. Do you feel like you did that on Saturday? Or?
I say it's always one of those questions where it's like, yes, but it's never good enough, never how I want it. So it's always a room for improvement.
Dante Manning, Oregon defensive back, talking with the media. And then now let's go to another guy sticking with the defense who's made that transition from defensive back to inside linebacker. And he got his really debut at that position, at least going against somebody that isn't wearing an Oregon uniform. That's Jamal Hill. He talked with the media today after practice.
Obviously, you're worried about their offense, but what are you able to help out your offense in terms of knowledge of DeRuyter and his scheme and Yates and what he looks for in safeties?
Sure, we know they like pressure. Me and Bucky was actually talking about that yesterday. They do a lot of pressure, dang near every down. So you just got to be ready for somebody that you don't think is blitzing to be coming. And I know Coach DeRuyter, he's an aggressive play caller, so just got to be ready for that.
It's kind of a unique dynamic there with Yates in particular, somebody you work so closely with. And what's that kind of like going into a game? Obviously, it's not your side of the ball necessarily you're facing or anything, but what's that like?
He's not playing, so it's not as as big as it might sound. But hope I get to see him in warm-ups, dap him up. He probably not gonna say too much just because we're not on the same team right now. But I look forward to just him. So that's it.
Did you have a chance to really practice against Tyler a couple of years ago when you were a freshman, and just what that experience was, and what you think this weekend will be like to play against him in a game like this?
Shoot, he's a great quarterback. So I practiced against him more in 2020, that COVID year. Like I'm saying, he's a great quarterback. I know he's grown a lot since the last time we practiced against him. And he's been doing a lot of great things at Texas Tech. Should look forward to competing. Like, you know, so I'll be looking forward to competing.
They were really stressing this week about how many passes he had batted down this past week, and that's been a little bit of an issue for him in the past. As a, box defender, what kind of emphasis is there for you guys this week to get hands up? I mean, there always is, but with a guy who is vulnerable to that.
I mean, of course, we're gonna emphasize it. Always getting our hands up, trying to get our hands on the ball, but knowing Tyler, he gonna make some adjustments so it doesn't keep happening. He's a veteran guy. He smart guy, so like he's not gonna keep making the same mistakes. So we gotta be ready for him to make some adjustments on the fly. We just gotta adjust with him.
With them having a 6'9" tight end, I know it's probably not going to be something you have to worry about all game, but how have you guys kind of tried to replicate that with the scout team?
True. I mean, just using the tight ends that we got, all of our tight ends are very skilled. They're not 6'9", but I mean, we can cross that bridge when we get there. But I feel like our tight ends have overly prepared us this week for, facing that. And most of us that played in the Georgia game played against 7-foot tight end already, so you feel me? Yeah, we'll be good.
I was going to say, is this the kind of matchup that your position move kind of emphasizes? Like, you've played, again, as a slot guy, but if you guys, not giving away anything, but if you played more nickel and dime, you may find yourself against, and even if you don't, you may find yourself against a 6'9", 270 tight end a bit more.
I mean, I don't really, I look forward to the challenge. I know they're going to come with their best game. This their first home game. I heard they got a new stadium too. So they're going to be juiced up, We just look forward to the matchup.
You hear about the tortillas?
Yeah, you hear about the tortillas. I mean, I guess.
How did you feel the linebackers as a whole played on Saturday, and what was it like? That was your first game officially playing there like that. How did you feel like you played?
So as a group, I feel like we did really well. Just doing our jobs within the defense, not trying to do too much, And me personally, I feel like I did all right. Did my job. Definitely want to, get more production at the ball. But as long as the defense is rolling, and I bring my 111 to the puzzle, I'm cool. We're good.
Team Media Day, you were really kind of high on Bryce and what he did, and then seeing what he was doing last weekend, can you just kind of reflect on what that was like?
I mean, honestly, if y'all could watch him at practice, like throughout the week, like the stuff he did Saturday wouldn't be surprising, but like the stuff he does during the week, like to show you like he ready. He not just like a spot filler type guy. He earned every minute he got on the field. Like he amazing athlete, probably one of the best athletes in Oregon history, honestly.
How difficult is it to do what he did on that special teams play, running full speed and dive and collect it like he did?
So that was a baseball play,
right.
Like literally, like Bryce Betcher. Like that was a Bryce Betcher play, for sure.
What's the story behind this turnover stick with the Air Force One? What is that thing?
So it's the big play scepter. So basically, each game, somebody different within the program. My boy Jerry Mixon, a star. Gonna be a young star, but yeah, each week somebody close to the program is gonna like design a shoe, and whoever like makes a big play on offense, so I believe it's 40 or more yards on offense, touchdown, and defense, interception, fumble recovery, special teams like touchdown or like block punt or something like that. You get to sign the shoe, and then you get your, your moment with your team holding up the scepter, and then after the game we auction it. Well, after the season, I believe we auctioned it and give it to charity.
Who came up with all that? Was that players, coaches? Where did that come from?
Both. Yeah, it was a player and coach thing. Like, Coach Lanning brought it to us, and we all agreed like that was something cool because we didn't really have anything to like celebrate like big plays here. So, thought that would have gave us like a little, a little juice. So
Who
we
found
agreed.
the scepter? Where did that come from? Did Kenny just find that somewhere? I mean,
honestly, man. Coach Lanning, bro, like he brought the idea to us, and then like we kind of was just all like, yeah, like we like it, because he was like he didn't want to do it if we didn't like it. So yeah.
You You said it'll be somebody designing the show. Is that like somebody outside the program? It's not one of you guys?
I believe last week was Tinker Hatfield, so like people like along those lines.
Like celebrity type.
Yeah. Like Neil, I believe. I don't know. I don't want to give away the shoes. Yeah, but it's gonna be somebody special each week.
Yeah, I don't know how many of you have seen that, but it's been a really cool adventure so far, and I like that Jamal gave us all the tease, of there might be a few others, there could be some others. I also don't want to give anything away, so I'm really glad that Jamal said that, like, maybe I should wait. That's exactly how I felt hearing everybody talk about that today, yeah. Other interviews today, Connor Soley met with the media after practice. Also, Ryan Milano chatted with him for our pregame show. That's coming up at 2 o'clock again this weekend. So I want to save Connor Soley, and then Bo Nix also talked to the media today. They talked a little bit longer, so we won't have time for them on the show today. We'll have that for you on the show tomorrow, along with our soccer and volleyball previews. And then I was curious, myself about the way that the stadium is actually set up at Texas Tech, because they're doing construction on one end zone. And it changes a lot of things, to be honest with you. But in terms of the way that this game is going to go, there's certainly been a lot of conversation about the heat, and it's going to be a hot one, a 6 o'clock kickoff still, but a hot one in Lubbock. I want to talk about that a little bit when we come back. And Coach Lanning actually said something about altitude and how these things get impacted, and I want to zero in on that when we come back, too. And then also Terrence Ferguson talked to the media briefly today. We have that next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
A heads up before something bad happens.
You should not send that text.
Uh-oh. Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can reverse prediabetes and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union, Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. So I was thinking about this heading into game week. So Lubbock is just over 3,000 feet in elevation. Well, Wyoming, where Texas Tech just played, Knight and I were talking about this, 7,000 from Wyoming? Makes a difference. The Ducks were at Wyoming. I know that's a tough place to play. I think it does make a difference. Coach Lanning, you heard him earlier today. He mentioned that it shows up the most in the kicking game. Well, for me, I think special teams for Oregon this year, working second year with Joe Lorig, who has had so many good special teams, I think that's going to end up being a real X factor, perhaps a key for Oregon all season long. Could end up being a key in this game. However, we didn't really get to see the kicking on display very much in week one, did we? That's because Oregon scored on the first 11 drives. I'm still just amazed at that. Like, I don't care who you're playing or what level of football it is. If you score on 11 straight drives and 12 of 13 overall in a football game, that's really saying something. That's how you get to a modern era program scoring record 81 points. But the Ducks going to Texas Tech, I think that the fact that Coach Lanning brought that up as something where the altitude can impact it, I'm going to be watching that now this weekend. After today, I'll be watching that this weekend in this game. The Ducks lead the all-time series 2-0, but it's the first time that the two teams have met since 1992. And I thought about this because Scott and I were thinking about what to do for Throwback Thursday this week on the Oregon football social media channels. And, well, we couldn't go back to 1992. We didn't have footage. I tried. We looked. But 1992, Oregon won 16-13 in Eugene, and then in 91, the Ducks won 28-13 in Lubbock. And this is also the first time in 2 years that the Ducks have gone on the road for a non-conference game. Think about that. The last time Oregon went on the road for a non-conference game, it was a nice win in Columbus against Ohio State. That worked out well. Finishing up today's show, Terrence Ferguson, Duck tight end. He talked with the media today after practice briefly.
What did you learn just week one of the season that maybe you didn't know about the team going into football camp?
I'd say something that kind of just was put out there is that we're really deep across the board. You know, a lot of guys got in, a lot of young dudes got in, and they performed. We went in and everybody scored. Everybody was touching the ball. It spread around. So I think it just showed that we were really deep across the board offensively.
Obviously, it's going to be a big step up in just the level of talent that you face. Throw in the road factor. Just what's important? What are the keys for you guys when you hit the road and play in this game?
It's just taking it day by day and not playing an opponent, but playing our best brand of football. I think not focusing on who we're playing. If it's Portland State, Texas Tech, whoever else is on the schedule, performing to our best as an offense. If we're hitting on all cylinders, nobody can stop us. So if we just do what we got to do, that's take care of itself.
Feeling that message carried across in practice this week.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's Terrence Ferguson, Duck tight end. He talked with the media after practice today. Connor Soley, who led the team in tackles in week one in his debut for the Ducks. We got him tomorrow. And Bo Nix, Duck quarterback. That's tomorrow as well. Your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill to finish up today's show. The Ducks soccer team is back at home tomorrow night. Televised on Pac-12 Oregon against Cal Baptist. The Ducks at 7 o'clock at Pape Field on Thursday. And then on Friday and Saturday, the Oregon volleyball team is on the road, both a 4:30 start. It'll be televised by the Pac-12 Network against Minnesota on Friday and by Pac-12 Insider against Ohio State on Saturday. And Knight's making the trip for KWVA. You can tune in on the student radio station KWVA. Knight's running audio for us here on the show today. So, hey, safe travels. We're not going to see him, I don't think, because he's headed out. Also, men's golf plays this weekend in Scottsdale. How about that? 4 o'clock kickoff for Oregon football in Lubbock. That's your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill. Cafe Yum, restaurants throughout the Northwest, the home of the Ducks. Tomorrow's show, see you then.
Hey, so what's a great way to spread awareness that driving high is illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course.